the eye didn't close. And then I felt, oh, how funny, I cannot close my eyes. So with the hold with my finger, like with my index, I hold one lid down to be able to focus with the other eye to take the pictures. So that's what is the first symptom I noticed, but I didn't notice as a symptom. Just felt funny that I was not able to close my eye.
Cue music. Places, everybody places. We're starting in 3, 2.
Welcome to the Autoimmune Hour, where we look at the rise of autoimmune disorders. I've brought together top experts that range from doctors, specialists, nutritionists, researchers, and even those recovering from autoimmune to bring you the latest, most up-to-date information about autoimmunity and how to live your life uninterrupted.
Thank you for joining us here on the Autoimmune Hour with Sharon Sayler. Always seek sound legal, medical, and or professional advice regarding any problems, conditions, and any of the recommendations you see, hear, or read here on the Autoimmune Hour, Understanding Autoimmune, and Life Interrupted Radio. Join the Autoimmune Hour's Courage Club. Sign up now at understandingautoimmune.com. Now, back to your host, Sharon Sayler.
Welcome, everyone, to the Autoimmune Hour. I'm Sharon Sayler from SharonSayler.com, and as always, it's my honor and pleasure to be with you here on another brand new episode. Oh, my goodness, I've got my tea right here. Really good tonight. So what are you curled up with? I'm hoping you're curled up with something really great because I've got a fun guest. She got an amazing survivor to thriver story. And like me, took that thriving part of her and created a new passion for helping others with autoimmune conditions. So we're going to talk about our own mutual, okay, that wasn't so hot. Now what do we do with all our learnings? And that's this opportunity to share with others that you don't have to just be a survivor. You too can be a thriver. So let me read her bio really quick. Her name is Roberta Tachi, and she is an embodiment coach and a health and life coach with over 2 decades of experience in holistic healing, with a specialization in women and autoimmune disease. Roberta's most important gift is her ability to combine her extensive studies with her intuitive gifts by seeing inside someone's body, what's going on. It's called embodiment. We're going to talk more about that word. I actually had to look up about what it was. So we'll talk more about, get a deeper understanding of how she does it. And hey, let's see if she can teach us how to do it. Roberta is passionate about helping women with autoimmune disease live their best lives, supporting and guiding them to achieve their goals. And we've got a little sweet treat surprise for you towards the end. We're going to talk about a brand new summit coming up in just a couple of weeks called Real Story of Autoimmune Disease 2.0. So welcome, Roberta. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's so great. We just met, everyone. I just want to say we just met, I don't know, like a couple of months ago, because we both had the same story about getting a really scary diagnosis and turning it into something else. I'm going to be on Roberta's summit talking about being a courageous patient advocate, among other things. And I'm really excited about that. I just love talking about it. And Roberta loves talking about how to speak up for ourselves.
Oh, yes, definitely. Very important.
Absolutely. And now, Roberta, I would love for you to share your survivor to thriver story because we haven't covered the topic of myasthenia gravis was your diagnosis. First, tell people what that is, and then we'll go into your amazing story.
Sometimes I joke that I say, MG is the cousin of MS, even though it's very different than multiple sclerosis, but it's a disease that normally you go to see a neurologist, and the same way that MS also see a neurologist. Myasthenia gravis, the word means muscle. Asthenia means lack of force or strength, and gravis means so it's a serious weakening of muscles. And it's caused by normally excess of antibodies from the thymus that blocks the neurological connection between the nerve and the muscle. So let's say you want to blink your eye, and there is a part of your brain who goes, the nerve goes and send a message to the eyelid, and you close your eyes without thinking about. When you have myasthenia, you might not have the communication between the nerve that sends the electrical impulse to the muscle. So the muscle doesn't move. so that you want to blink your eyes. You don't think about you want. In fact, you discover suddenly you're not blinking. And then your eyes feels like quite dry. And you go, something in the air is different now, because you keep tearing and have tears. And then you want to sleep and you have to close your eyes with your arms because the eyes are not closing. And that's because the communication between nerve and muscle does not.
Wow, that is scary.
It's very scary, but initially you don't realize the scope of what is going on. So the first thing I noticed was when I wanted to take a picture, and I started to have symptoms right after my daughter was born. So she was a baby, and of course I want to take pictures of my baby. And I realized I could not close. At that time, we didn't have cell phone. This was more than 30 years ago. To explain that. Otherwise, what are you talking about? No, you had to look through that little hole on the camera to see what you're taking a picture of. And I could not close the other eye to be able to focus, to look at that, because the eye didn't close. And then I felt, how funny, I cannot close my eyes. So I would hold with my finger, like with my index. I hold one lid down to be able to focus with the other eye to take pictures. So that's what is the first symptom I noticed, but I didn't notice as a symptom. Just felt funny that I was not able to close my eye. I'm Brazilian. I had my baby in the US. My husband is Japanese. Gotta give a little bit of background of all this. After my daughter was born, we went to Brazil, and then I stayed there for 2 months until my husband organized our apartment in Japan. And then I flew with my daughter to Japan and started our life together there. So when I arrived in Japan, that's when I started to notice that I have tears all the time. And it's a new country that I've never been before. So I'm like, how strange. The air here is so different. This country has something in the air that I have never had before, because my eyes are feeling strange. So I'm blaming outside this, what I'm feeling, because I was not aware that it's too much of a new situation having a baby, and it's too much of a new situation being in a new country together. It was coming closer to winter. It was November, was beginning already of coming in the fall. And I have these boots that I bought in US, and it was very comfortable boots. And I put these boots on and I'm like, that's so heavy. I cannot even lift my foot from the floor. What is going on? How crazy was I to buy such a heavy boots like this? And was nothing like that, was another symptom of myasthenia that I did not know. So that means it was progressing, and I'm just noticing a bit strange things, and I'm still thinking it's because I'm here. It's because I am a new mother. I feel my arms weak, and I said, after delivery, I think I got very weak. I need to build up my muscles to be strong again. So as a new country, you don't have friends, you don't have family. My husband has to go to work, and I just had my baby. So I'm quite silent, just talking to my baby. Until 1 month after I arrived in Japan, that someone said, there is a Brazilian in this city. I was not in Tokyo, I was in the countryside. And she came to visit me, and I was so happy. I cooked a Brazilian meal. I said, that's so fine, and I'm going to talk nonstop. So I'm talking, and then I prepared this Italian meal for us. And in the moment of eating, I could not swallow. And then I realized my tongue was not moving, and I did not know what to do. So I went to the bathroom, and I started to pull my tongue. And I said, what's going on? I said, I know what it is. I haven't talked to anyone for a whole month here besides my husband at night. That my body's weird. Maybe I spoke too much. I thought it's too tired. My tongue gets too tired. But from that point on, I started to really deteriorate. My whole health started to deteriorate, and got in 2 months, I could not speak normally anymore because the tongue was quite paralyzed. And then I could not pronounce the words correctly. And then something quite more strong happened, which was the swallowing. And I was drinking water. The water would go back through the nose, out, and I could not swallow. If I drank soup, same thing. I have to stop, focus, really become quite concentrating in swallowing to be able to swallow food. And then I thought, okay, something is really wrong here.
Could no longer rationalize all of the other, I'll say in air quotes, simpler things. But
when you go to a new country, then your eyes, you feel a little bit dry because as you're not blinking, we blink to lubricate the eye. But I did not realize that I'm not lubricating. It's very strange. Am I lubricating my eye? I do not know. But
no, we don't walk around thinking that.
Are you lubricating your eye right now? No idea. But once you start to have tears because you're not lubricating and the eye is feeling strange, then, and it's a new country I've never lived. So then for me, it's, oh, this is this. Oh, I am weak. My legs are weak because of this and that. So everything. Oh, I spoke too much. And then I realized, no, something is wrong. And I start to pay attention to myself. And that's why for me, it's like very important to connect with our body to see what's going on. And I told my husband, I need to see a doctor. This is really, something is bad. And first I talked to my mother over the phone and she goes, you want to speak Japanese. That's why your tongue is not moving. Everybody's because you want to speak Japanese. You can't have patience to learn the language. I said, people are crazy. My tongue is stopping to work. And then they're saying it's because I want to speak a language. No, I'm sick. And no one believed that I was sick. And we went to see a doctor, friend of a friend, because my husband did not know many doctors either. And the doctor said, I think you are stressed. It's very common for foreigners to come to Japan and feel stressed. And this was 30 years ago now. It's much more common for people to go to Japan, to live in Japan. He decided to give me a tranquilizer. And my daughter, I was breastfeeding and I said, okay, I have to stop. And he said, let me give you this little thing. You're going to get calmer. Everything's going to get better. It was the worst thing because a tranquilizer for someone with myasthenia, of course, he did not know and I did not know either.
That sounds scary.
It makes the muscles move even less. So then I could not really swallow. I could not eat. I could not move my tongue properly. And then it came the day that I could not brush my teeth. And because the tongue would not, we do not know, but we move the tongue a lot without knowing. And when you're brushing your teeth, if you go to brush your right side, the tongue goes to the left. You don't think about it. All of this is happening very naturally. But it didn't. So I have to hold the tongue and let me know where I can move the tongue, where I'm going to brush. And I felt something very strange is I felt a volume inside of my chest, the upper chest, very below the neck. I felt something. So some people call this high heart energy, the energy world. And I felt something is strange here. There's a volume inside. Something is paralyzed right here. And I could feel that inside. And don't ask me how I could feel that. But anyway, so I told my husband, I got to go to a doctor, tell him. And he said, what am I going to say? Which kind of doctor? I don't know. I said, I don't know either. We're going to discover. We go to the hospital because in Japan, it's different than here. Normally you go to a very big hospital and they have all the modalities, not modalities, like all the systems, like you have gynecologists, you have pediatrician, you have neurologists, you have orthopedic, and everything inside the same hospital. It's not common for doctors to have a private office. Their private office is inside of the hospital. So we went there and I tell the receptionist something like this. My wife is getting nuts. I was going to go today. Tell her my wife is getting nuts. She cannot brush her teeth. She cannot speak. Her brain must be with a problem. And I really thought something, my brain has a problem. And so that's when I went to the hospital and then they checked. I went to do a brain scan. I don't remember exactly what kind of exam was that, but didn't show anything in the brain. And then my husband went together because I didn't speak any word of Japanese. It was really few months after I arrived. So he has to translate everything. And then I was booking exams. And then suddenly I received a phone call from the hospital saying, a very good doctor is a neurologist. He studied in the United States. He just is going to start here next week. And we want you to see him. And it was good because I need to give a break to my husband, who all the time missing work because of all this that I needed to go to see a doctor. So far, I'm thinking it's just my mouth and my tongue. I haven't realized the eye or anything. So he says, close your eyes very strong. I couldn't close my eyes. The eyes kept open. And I'm like, I can't. Yes, I cannot close my eyes. That's weird. And then he said, now lift both of your legs from the floor. And I could not lift my legs from the floor, something that everybody could do. And he said, I think you have myasthenia, but I cannot say for sure because this is just a guess. So then he gave me injection of medicine. I think it was corticoid, some type. And I felt a little bit of a change. And he said, not strong enough. Let's give another one. When he gave me the second one, it was great. That moment was great. I felt, oh, I'm being connected again. It's like electricity.
Wow.
I was speaking normally. And he said, oh, that's how is your normal voice. Because my voice by then was total nasal and changed and weird. And then he said, then I understood it was not just my mouth and my way of speaking, my swollen. It was my eyes, my legs, my arms. Everything was literally paralyzed. And I was not aware of it. And then he said, the next thing to paralyze is your breathing muscles.
Oh my goodness.
Exactly. I said, what? And then he goes, if you stop breathing, you have 3 minutes to arrive in this hospital before any more damage is done. And this, I never forget, because this was a Thursday, and he said, you're going to be hospitalized on Monday. I said, no, I can't. I have a baby. She's 10 months old now. And no, you're not understanding. You're going to be hospitalized on Monday. You have Friday, Saturday, Sunday to get everything ready for this. And I was like, wow, that was the shock to understand the severity of the situation and telling me 3 minutes. So in this weekend, I would wake up in the middle of the night and, am I breathing? Okay, I'm breathing. Okay, I'm alive. I'm breathing. So like checking all the time if I'm breathing and not notice if I'm sleeping, I wake up to check if I was breathing. And then he wrote in a little piece of paper that myasthenia gravis is one disease, but it can normally is caused by something else. It would be another disease. And that we're going to do all tests to figure it out. And then he gave me, it can be AIDS, it can be ovarian cancer, it could be a lung cancer, a list of things like that, all
nice, terrifying thing.
Terrifying, super things. And then he goes, the last one is a tumor on your thymus, which I did not even remember what thymus was at that time. And luckily, it was a big tumor in my thymus, and I had a surgery to remove. And because Japan, they have a very strong rules and laws for medicine. So if you take a high dose of prednisone, corticoid, you have to be hospitalized, and they're going to be checking everything every day. So I was there for 3 months. I was hospitalized for 3 months, had the surgery, was intubated. And when I left the hospital, and I needed to be going back to the hospital every week. And then after several months, he said, okay, now you can come every 15 days. After 15 days, once a month. After once a month, once every 2 months. And that was for a while until it got into once every 6 months and then once a year. This was already a few years. And then until I came to US, I was still in that once a year, go to see the doctor, check everything, make sure that you're well, and things like that.
Wow, horrifying story. We're so glad you're here and well.
Thank you. I'm very glad I'm here too. When I went to the surgery, the doctor told my husband, she has a 50% chance of living and 50% of not living. I was very lucky, I say, because he only stayed there 2 years. And he has an American license as a neurologist here. So he gave me the whole explanation of all the detail about this in English to me. And he would turn to my husband and say everything in Japanese to him. And I remember in this room, I don't know, he was there almost 1 hour with us, which is unheard of because he's English for me, Japanese for my husband. And that was very good because there was no internet at that time where I would get information.
So that was a couple of decades ago, and you've been on the Thriver path for quite a while.
Yes.
Obviously, if you've got some of these early symptoms that you weren't aware of, be sure and go to your doctor and have them checked out. If some of these symptoms to yourself, you're like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. But as you began on the Thriver road, what are some things that you were doing to maintain your health and make sure that it continued to even get better?
I want to mention that myasthenia is something that a lot of people have difficulty to receive the diagnosis because it's something people don't hear much about. It's not well known. And also it can show, like I was helping other women in Japan when they discover they have myasthenia. But initially, they only have problem with the eyes, and they go to ophthalmologist, the eye doctor. And they go to the eye doctor. It takes a while until they discover that was myasthenia. A lot of old men also get the myasthenia, and it's a swallowing problem. They cannot swallow. They cannot eat or swallow. So normally, the person gets one type of symptoms very strong, and they have difficulty to get the diagnosis. In a way, I was lucky. I don't know, this is exactly the word I want to use, but it was like all the symptoms came all together, very strong, very fast. In a way, it was good because he gave the diagnosis quite fast. To tell you the truth, in the beginning, I was just thinking, I want to get out of this hospital because it's like, my daughter is not with me and I just had a baby. And my whole thought was, I want to leave. I want to leave because I have a baby. I want to leave. I have a baby. I want my baby to have a mother. And I think this stronger desire to leave is something that I tell any person with any autoimmune is find your why you want to leave, because I think that gives you inner power to really, like we were talking right before, to advocate for your health, to be really strong, to pull strength that you do not know where it's going to come from. But it's having a why. I think it's very important. I want to leave. We all want to leave, but why you want to leave? Dig deeper into why you want to leave and get that strength. So I remember talking to this very doctor that I'm very thankful for him because he was really transformational for me to help me with everything. But I remember I used to go to him with my little paper. I have my little list because I was still in a very high dose of prednisone, corticoid. And I go and you and your little list. I said, yes, I have questions. And he even told me, I spend double the time with you than anybody else. I said, yeah, because I have questions.
Point out this topic of don't be afraid to ask questions. You know you better than anybody else.
Exactly. I never forget once I told him, you know what happened? I'm walking on the street. I don't know the person who is crossing the crosswalk in front of me. I just feel like I want to even hit this. Oh, I remember this because am I getting nuts? What is going on? I want to even hit this person that I do not know walking right in front of me. Not this type of person. What is this? So I told him, this is happening. And he goes, oh, this is a side effect because the dose is too high. We're going to reduce. This is a bit of psychosis that this and this and that and with this and that. And I'm like, gosh, I don't want this medicine because it's like transforming you in a very bad way. So it happened that after, I think, 2 years, and I was reducing the dose according to how my symptoms were. But after 2 years, I was hospitalized again, and he left to change to be in Tokyo, and a different doctor came. And I was quite upset with myself because I was pushing myself and being, oh, I'm okay now. And then I started to work and being a mother, taking care of everything. And in Japan, you don't get much help. It doesn't exist. Oh, I have a babysitter. Oh, I have someone who's going to help me to clean here. You don't have, there is not much, there is no help normally. It's not common because a lot of women who, when they have their babies, they decided not to work anymore and they take care of the house. So no one is working for another person. So I had to do everything. Plus I was working. And then my health went really downhill again. And I was hospitalized again. And I had to start with a new medicine. At that time, I really promised myself that I would not allow that to happen anymore, that I would really pay attention how I was feeling. And I would respect when I was tired, I would rest. The funny thing about advocating for your health, I want to mention, because this new doctor, he was totally Japanese and not trained abroad. At that time, my Japanese was also much better. And I'm hospitalized and he's leaving the room with my husband and going to the corridor of the hospital. And they said, we're going to talk about Roberta's health. And they are going. I got out from my bed and I'm like, hospital bed, and I'm following them in the corridor like this. And them screaming in the corridor, where are you going? I'm going too. You don't talk about my health without me.
Absolutely. My gosh, that still happens here too, though. I had that happen early in my diagnosis where I took someone with me, happened to be male, talking to the male doctor. After a couple of minutes, I realized they're talking about me, but not to me.
Exactly.
Excuse me, you do know I'm in the room and this is me that you're talking about?
Exactly. In Japan, it was very common, especially 30 years ago. I think now they have different laws, even that the patient has the right to know what is going on with them, because they used to hide from the patient, even when it was a more chronic condition or cancer, they would not tell the patient. And now there's a new law. I don't know how old is the new law, but it was, I think, after I was hospitalized. And I said, no, you don't talk about my health without me. And if the nurse, they're so nice, and they would come and give me a medicine. And I'm like, what is this? And they would not know what it is or explain. And I said, I'm not going to take. And they look at me, you have to take it. The doctor gave you. I said, I know the doctor gave me. I don't take any medicine without knowing what it is, what it's for, what's the side effects. So before you give me information, I don't take this medicine. I was a kind of rebel.
I think that we all need to be those rebels because it reminds me of a time where I got CP put on my folder there. And I was like, what is big black letters NCP? Finally, one of the nurses takes me aside, says, means non-compliant patient.
Wow.
But it irritated me in a way because, in a way, it was a badge of honor. But it also irritated me because my non-compliance was I asked questions. And I said whether that would work for me or not. But a lot of doctors, especially during the height of my care, were like, you don't know what you're talking about, lady.
I'm very sensitive to many things. I'm from myasthenia. I don't take medicine for 20, I think now it's 27 years. I don't take any medicine. And I will tell you what happened. But sometimes other things the doctor say, oh, this is a very minimum dose. And immediately I have a reaction. I said, is this the minimum dose? You're kidding me. This is too strong. So I'm quite sensitive. And some people are more sensitive to medicine and side effects than others. And I think the doctors have to take that into consideration.
And to stand up for yourself if you know you're one of those. I had a person, a PT one time, who we were talking and I was mentioning they were working on my hand and I could feel it in other parts of my body. Mm-hmm. And I would say, oh, wow, that's interesting. I can't remember exactly, but let's just say, oh, that's, I'm really feeling that in my foot or something like that. And he would go, well, that's amazing because this is the nerve that goes from here to there. And it explained to me why I was feeling it so far away from where he was working. And then he goes to me because we had just met. He goes, oh, you're one of those. And I said, those? Like in Men in Black? Like alien? Those? Like those what? And he went on to say highly sensitive people. And I said, yes, Write that down. I'm a highly sensitive person, which we need to take a quick commercial break, Roberta. But when we come back, what I want to talk about, highly sensitive people, plus what is embodiment? I know you do a lot of work with embodiment for yourself and others. And I can see where the highly sensitive people and embodiment go together. So we'll talk about that right after this quick commercial break.
The Autoimmune Hour will return after these messages from our sponsors. It's great sponsors like these that keep this show coming to you every week. Be sure and stop by understandingautoimmune.com to learn more.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hi, it's Olivia Munn with my shelter pets, Frankie and Chance. Say hi, guys. When I adopted them, I discovered that they both have incredible personalities. Chance's sole purpose in life is to love and to be loved. Frankie is a little bit of a scoundrel and always entertaining. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the Humane Society of the United States, and Maddie's Fund.
OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Listen and imagine. It takes 5 seconds to send a text, and for those 5 seconds, you're driving blind. Life is worth more than a text. Stay alive. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Sharon. And of course you know me from here on the Autoimmune Hour. Maybe you don't know I'm also an author. My latest book is for kids. It's Pinky Chenille and the Rainbow Hunters, a winner of a 5-star Reader's Favorite review. It's perfect for your early reader and a great bedtime story for your young adventurers. Check it out over at pinkychenille.com. That's PinkyChenille.com. See you there.
Research shows we apologize up to 10 times a day, and most of the time, we say sorry as a response to someone else's mistake. What if we thanked people instead of all that unnecessary apologizing? So instead of saying, sorry, I'm rambling, you say, thank you for listening. Join us at ProjectForgive.com, a free, non-religious resource on global forgiveness.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Autoimmune Hour. I'm Sharon Sayler from SharonSayler.com and UnderstandingAutoimmune.com, where you can find over 440 plus episodes of the Autoimmune Hour on a wide variety of topics. Tonight, we're talking about a survivor to thriver story. We're creating a whole new life, a whole new passion, a whole new understanding of what is wellness and well-being. And tonight, we're talking to Roberta Tachi, and she's an embodiment coach and a health and lifestyle coach. And she has over 2 decades of experience in holistic healing. And she is also the producer and host of Real Story of Autoimmune Disease 2.0, which I'm going to give it a little plug. I'm going to be a guest on shortly. And I'm really excited about that. And Roberta has such a fascinating story of her recovery from Myasthenia Gravis. And one of the things that came out of that was this understanding of embodiment. And I'll let Roberta take it from there in describing what is embodiment. Roberta, embodiment for us, and then we'll jump ahead to how people know whether they can do it or not.
And I want to just share my experience, my very personal experience, and why after that I decided, I don't even know I decided, is it coming as a natural thing that I wanted to help everyone with any issue. I have a pain here. Oh, I can help you. I was like that. I can help you in a very non-professional way. Just it ended up being my work because of my passion for it and really the desire to help others. So I was getting better and reducing the medicine and feeling good. I have been always, I think, a detective of myself. I'm always trying to understand myself more deeply. And of course, when you get a diagnosis and all kinds of things happen in your life, you ask questions to the universe. So I started to be, I was already, when I was younger, always reading about spirituality, deeper spirituality and energy and all this kind of topics, esoteric stuff. And it came across about 30 years ago, because now it's very common, but something about higher self and lower self. I said, higher self and lower self, what is that? And I'm reading this. And then there was a suggestion of a meditation that you bring your higher self and you bring your lower self and your personality, and you're going to make all this communication with these parts of yourself to be more whole. So I sit down and I'm going to meditate like I thought I would meditate to do that. And nothing like that happened. I didn't see any higher self or lower self at all. What happened is I closed my eyes and suddenly what I saw was my body internally. And I saw the several cells, several parts paralyzed, which is what myasthenia causes, several paralyzation of the body. And I look at them and I telepathically talk to my cells. And I said, what are you doing? You're paralyzed. And they all look like a little soldier. It's weird, but they look like we are obeying your own orders. I said, my orders? Okay, then I changed. I didn't ask why or anything. I just told them, then move. That's weird like this. I'm crazy, but I was not. And I came out of that and I'm like, what was that? This is crazy. It's almost like I enter my own body. And I could not explain. I just felt quite strange. But I started to forget the medicine 2-3 days in a row. And I told my doctor, I'm forgetting to take the medicine. I'm so well, I forget. And how do you feel? I feel great. He said, let's reduce even more. And then 1 month after, he said, let's stop the medicine completely and let's see what happens. That was 27 years ago. I don't take medicine for all this time. So I think, okay, how did you cure yourself? I told my cells, move.
That's the strangest success story I've ever heard, but it works for you. So bravo.
What happened is, even after that, even I was in remission of myasthenia because I was sick for such a long time. I had like a bit of atrophy in the muscles. I had pain here and pain there. So I was always looking for something that could help me. I studied Reiki in Japan in 1999, and I started to do energy work for myself. And then we moved to New York. A new friend told me that the local hospital had a volunteer program that if you want to volunteer helping people who are sick, they would pay for your course to do this and this. I didn't even know what it was. I said, I'm in. I said, I'm in. And
have you not? It's just a pattern of your life of I'm in.
I'm in. Because it was about helping people in the hospital. And I knew what it was to be in the hospital for a long time. And I knew how much traumatized it can be, how much suffering we can have just being in the hospital. It's not easy. And I thought, whatever I can do for them, I want to do. And I did 7 years of volunteer in the hospital. I got even an award from the hospital because of my dedication. Instead of me telling I'm going to do this, was the universe bringing me to this. So I started, let me learn this. Let me learn that. I learned many modalities. I think perhaps I have around 20 certificates somewhere in this house with many things that I do. And then I decided to do more meditation and include many things, sound healing, aromatherapy, Japanese acupressure. I work a lot with that, which I love, and many other things. And one of them is embodiment. So I am a senior teacher of embodiment, which helps a person to be really more present in their body. There's a big difference between being aware of your body and being present in your body. So when we are aware is already quite good. Some people are not even aware of their body. So aware is good. It's very good. But there is a deeper level, which is to really feel deeply. In the same way, I end up having a tumor in my thymus that was right here where I used to feel that volume. And people say, you don't feel a tumor. You don't feel any of this. I said, I felt right exactly where it was. And I used to say, I always tell my husband, I said, something is here, something right here. I do not know what it is. But so I had a deeper level of embodiment that helped me to get better. And that's what I teach now, people to get into a deeper level of embodiment so they can feel first areas that they do not feel. Sometimes they have like numbness, and the numbness comes from deeper pain, physical pain, or emotional pain. Emotional pain also makes us disconnect from our body. The body cannot heal well if we are not in our body. It will heal more or better or more deeply, because when we are not embodying the fascia, the conjunctive tissue inside also gets harder and dehydrated and more rigid. So we lose fluidity, we lose mobility, we lose flexibility. So all of this we lose as we stay less connected to ourselves.
I've heard the term associated, disassociated. Is that related to embodiment?
Yes and no, because all of us now have areas that we are not present in the body. Maybe a handful of people are totally embodied and we are not dissociated. We are here, we know what we are doing, so we are not dissociated. But dissociation can happen also when we are practicing embodiment. That's why initially it's good to do, if you're going to do a deeper connection, to do with someone together, someone that is there with you, because it can bring traumas from the past or pain or situations, memory can come up, and when we are doing alone. But we can always do 5 minutes of a deeper connection with us, because 5 minutes, I think it's safe to do for everyone. And normally at the first time, very rare, we will have that. But dissociation happens when we have trauma and there's too much fear in the body.
Right.
So there's too much fear. And it's very good for trauma. I work a lot with trauma, because trauma, we stay top down or bottom up. So top down means you're going to a psychoanalyst or a psychotherapist or a psychologist. They're going to talk to you, going to talk and talk. Sometimes when you have trauma, the body contracts again in the same way it contracted in the past, when whatever episode that happens that caused the trauma. The body has the reaction in the same way. But if you do not know, if I see someone talking, sometimes I say, tell me about this. And then what I'm seeing is the body. Here it goes, the teeth. And of course, the stomach, everybody contracts, is aware the area we feel the fear, and many modalities work with that. But it's not like that. It's much more precise. You can be closing one nostril. You can be disconnecting one particular part of your gum. And you can be like your elbow. It can be anywhere in the body. But when we become present, then normally there is an emotion. There is a physical sensation there. But there is also something that very rarely people work, which is the mind. The mind that is trapped in the body, deep in the body. And that mind is the mind of yourself, us, our own mind in a different age that is trapped, almost like in a bubble. And like when we have childish reactions, we all have some days that we have.
The term that comes to mind is my little inner child having a temper tantrum or something like that.
Exactly.
I've heard those sorts of words before.
Yeah. So this inner child is quite alive, quite well, and quite protective and quite pale. No one is going to do that. No, you're not coming here. No, I'm not going to open this constriction in my body. I'm protecting and defending you, Roberta. You do not know. But that mind is, I call the inner wounded child, because everything that was good as a child, it's flowing and you're growing. But things that were too difficult to process or to experience, And don't think it's only really hard, someone violent beating me up. I'm going to give an example because it's a very different example. Very handsome man and beautiful blue eyes. He had a second divorce and he wants to do sessions because of the emotional aspects of this and that. He was very healthy, very handsome, very healthy, but emotionally was having issues after his second divorce. And as we are working, we went right into the childhood. He had very lovely parents and everything. What happened? People would stop on the street, stop his mother on the street to say what a beautiful boy he was. Beautiful boy. And they would come too strong to his face. So he was retrieving himself very deeply, afraid of people. But the people were not violent. His parents and his apartment was renovating. So he went to do a session from his mother's home. And we are having a session in the Zoom. And she did not know. And she knocked at the door and she opened the door. And I said, "This is your mother." I said, "Bring her in." I asked her. I said, "Let me talk to her." And then, "Oh, hello." And I said, "I am sure your son was a very beautiful boy, wasn't he?" And she said, "Oh, yeah. People stop on the street and anywhere they stop to look at him, and even in my arms when he was a baby." And then, "Okay, bye-bye." And then I said, now she remembered very well, already demonstrating his presence. He was not present in his own face, and he was interesting. He was hiding in his eyes very deeply. And that is because it was so scary as a child to have strange people coming when something or someone is beautiful, it attracts our attention. And when attract our attention, we go many times too much toward that baby, toward that child. That was not violence. The parents were not violent. They were loving beings. He was also a very nice person, but he was afraid of people in a level that was very deep and not conscious, because the body was doing that, still protecting himself. So it's very profound. It's very profound and transformational.
We're down to just the last few minutes, and I want to make sure that we have time. First, let's talk about the summit. That's really exciting. We'll be talking about being a strong patient advocate on the real story of the autoimmune disease 2.0.
Yes. Thank you so much, Sharon, for being there as a guest, because I think you have a beautiful and important message for people who have autoimmune disease. Yes.
Well, little shameless self-promotion here, Roberta.
Thank you for this opportunity. We have 28 speakers. This is the second summit I'm doing for autoimmune disease. The summit is called The Real Story of Autoimmune Disease. And mainly it's many speakers of different modalities and different walks of life, also patients, but also doctors, functional doctors, chiropractors, healers, health coach, nutrition, talk about meditation, talk about many things, different things, because I wanted to have this variety of possibilities and information for people to know, that give tools for people who have autoimmune disease. So anyone with a chronic condition or autoimmune disease, but it's free and people can watch all this. It's going to begin September 20th. The summit, it will be September 20th to the 30th. And mainly we'll have 2 to 3 interviews a day. My page is selfawakens.com, the selfawakens.com.
And we'll have that up on understandingautoimmune.com as well, so people can see that, and we'll have a link to that.
Yes.
If you're driving or out there exercising, a lot of people like to listen to the podcast when they're out walking or things like that. So we'll have the link to that there. And I also wanted to have just a quick time. You were going to guide us through a wonderful embodiment meditation.
Yes.
So before we run out of time, let's jump forward and we'll do our nice little meditation here.
I ask everybody first to close your eyes, but if you feel uncomfortable for any reason, and if you're driving also, please don't do it.
Absolutely.
Have your eyes open.
Here we say meditate when you meditate and drive when you drive.
Exactly.
So you guys pull over to the side or whatever.
Exactly. And if it's possible for you, then close your eyes and take a moment. And Sharon, if you want to do it together, feel
Absolutely.
free to. Yes. And so I want you to just pay attention to yourself in this moment. And you do not need to do deep breaths. Just breathe the air that is right there with you right now. Just normal breath. Just pay attention to yourself in this moment. And take a moment now to feel your own nose. Not thinking about the nose, but feeling your nose internally. And feel your lips and feel your chin. And just allow to have a neutral face, relaxing and just normal. Feeling your nose, your lips, and your chin. And now feel that you are in your whole face, your cheeks, your eyes. And now feel that you are behind your face, that you are inside your head, having a deeper connection with yourself. And without losing this connection with this internal space of your head, bring your attention down to your feet and feel that you are inside your feet. You don't need to move the feet. Doesn't matter if you have shoes or not shoes. Just bring your mind. It's almost like your mind left the head and is still in the head, but also inside your feet. And feel both feet at the same time. And feel the soles of your feet resting on the floor or wherever you are sitting, and letting the feet rest if you're even standing. And now take a moment to feel that you are in your ankles and your lower legs, feeling your shin, your ankles, and your calves. And allow yourself to just really feel that internally and feel that you are in your knees. And take a moment to feel your knee, like in front of your knees. Feel the back of your knee. Feel the internal space of your knees. And now feel that you are in your thighs, from the knees all the way up to the pelvis. Allowing the thighs to soften and rest on the chair. Even see if you feel both sides, left and right. And perhaps you can feel the hamstrings, the back of your thighs, softening and resting on the chair. And now take a moment to feel that you are in your pelvis, the lowest part of your torso, including the pelvic floor, including the sit bones, the back, feeling your own butt against the chair, feeling the front, and also feeling your sides. Sometimes we only focus in the middle. See if you can feel the sides of your pelvis. And now take a moment to feel your midsection, your abdominal area, and especially your stomach area. This area sometimes holds some tension, so just allow yourself to soften that area. The last ribs, feeling also all the way through to the back so that you connect to your back as well. And also remember the sides so that you're not only in the middle, but also you have width. And now take a moment to feel that you are in your chest all the way through to the back. So that you're present in this whole upper part of your torso. And going toward the armpits so that you also have your width. And feel that you are in your shoulders, allowing the shoulders to soften on the bottom of your neck, your arms. And feel your arms, your wrists, your hands, your fingers. Just sensing and feeling them, not thinking about them, feeling. And now feel that you are in your neck, and perhaps it's easier to find from the shoulders, the neck, close to the ears. and the front and back of your neck and the internal space of your neck. Then your back and your face again, your forehead, your eyes, your nose, your mouth, your chin, your cheeks and cheekbones, feeling your ears and your inner ears. And now feel your brain inside your head, connecting to this internal space of your head and your brain. This will nourish your brain. And now feel that you are in your whole body all at once, from the soles of your feet to the top of your head. And slowly open your eyes. And even you open your eyes slowly, normally I recommend continue to be connected deeply with yourself, because even the world here, you still have this internal space of your body to connect.
Wow. Beautiful. Thank you, Roberta. Absolutely. And everyone, I think we'll just leave it there. Be sure and go over and check out the real story of Autoimmune Disease 2.0 Summit. And we'll have the link over at understandingautoimmune.com. Roberta, share with us the link one more time.
theselfawakens.com.
theselfawakens.com. Everyone, have a great week. Whatever your adventures, join me next week for another brand new episode. Enjoy.
The information provided on the Autoimmune Hour, Understanding Autoimmune, and Life Interrupted Radio, including the websites understandingautoimmune.com and lifeinterruptedradio.com, plus social media, is for educational purposes only. What you read, hear, and see on the Autoimmune Hour, Understanding Autoimmune, and Life Interrupted Radio, and its websites, and other media outlets is based on experience only. The information should never be used for any legal, diagnostic, or treatment purposes.